Hey there, welcome back to the Clarity to CEO podcast. I'm your host, Philippa, and this is where we talk about strategy, visibility, and leadership for women entrepreneurs that are building serious businesses. Today, I'm so excited to be joined by the brilliant Natasha Tynes. Now, she is a journalist, an author, a book coach, and a ghostwriter. Now, Natasha helps entrepreneurs and executives finish their books, clarify their stories, and turn their ideas into powerful assets through her Finish Your Book in 120 Days program. Now, today, we're going to be zooming out. We're talking about something every women entrepreneur needs to think about, and that's how podcasting and writing can become strategic marketing tools, which is really good. And not just vanity projects, but things that can help you build authority, visibility, and trust in a world increasingly dominated by AI, which can really just cloud our value and our word and our authenticity. So if you've been wondering how to stand out, how to deepen your credibility, or how to turn your voice into leverage, this conversation is for you. So let's jump right into the conversation with Natasha. Yes. Okay, perfect. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. Please fully introduce yourself. I did not do you enough justice. I would love people to know who Natasha is and the value that she offers the world.
Sure. Thank you so much, Philippa, for having me. All right. So my name is Natasha Tynes. I'm a Jordanian American journalist, author, ghostwriter, and a book coach. So pretty much anything that has to do with media and the written word, mostly books. And I started my journey as a journalist 25 years ago. And I still work as a journalist. Occasionally, I write for publications here in the DC area, like the Bethesda magazine. But after working as a journalist in the Middle East and in the US and Europe and other places, I built my own business called Suburban Media Group. And I focus mostly on helping people write or finish their books. So I'd like to call myself the book finisher. And this can be either by some clients come to me and I help them ghostwrite the book. So I would write the book for them. So it's like done for you. Or it can be done with you, where they write the manuscript and I coach them. We do live editing. We talk about mindset and any obstacles they face. And sometimes they need my help publishing if they want to self-publish or marketing. So I am all in the book industry.
That is awesome. And now I think you mentioned too, you have a little bit of podcasting in your library as well.
Correct. Yeah. So what I have a podcast that I've been running for almost 4 years now. It's a long time. It's called Read and Write with Natasha, and it's about books. Surprise, surprise. And the podcast is I interview authors and people in the publishing industry. And we talk about the writing habits, we talk about where the industry is heading, we talk about the content of their books, and we offer advice for aspiring authors. So, is anyone who's interested in the publishing and writing industry, make sure to check out my podcast, Read and Write with Natasha.
Yes, well, I know I definitely will be, and I'm very excited for this conversation for selfish reasons with my book coming out in June or hopefully this summer. Hopefully June 30th, that's my goal. But anything I can learn from experts like yourself to help me make this experience better is great. And I'm sure others will learn from you as well. So let's get started today. So let's start with why does podcasting and writing matter still so much in this AI driven world that we have today? Because I know AI has taken over so much. It can be helpful, but we don't want it to overtake and replace our writing and our voice. So why does it still matter so much?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very good question, especially in this AI world. And what's happening now is people are having a trust issue because the content that we're seeing, especially now when you look at like Instagram reels or whatever, is this real or this is AI? And the same even when, for example, I look at comments on my LinkedIn posts, and many of them I could tell that there are AI generated. Like people don't even want to write comments anymore. And that's why people are hungry for authenticity, for genuine voices. So that's why it's very important to do a podcast, go on camera. For me, it's very important to see me, hear my voice, hear my accent, see like my energy, and that's when they realize I'm an actual real person with experience, not an AI avatar. And I've seen some people trying to do AI podcasts, and honestly, they're just horrible. Because you could tell it's AI, and first there's no video because it's only AI, and you can hear the kind of automated voice that's coming there. It's very polished. You want to be in a podcast where somebody coughs. I know you can remove that in the post editing, but sometimes it's fun to keep it, or a dog barking. We were just mentioning my dog, or just keeping it real, especially that now we're inundated with AI material, and it's exhausting. I think we're suffering from AI fatigue at this point.
I totally agree. Even me, like when I'm doing my own podcast here, I tend to, as I'm editing it, feel like, because I start a lot of sentences or a lot of paragraphs or thoughts with, all right, so, and I feel like that's so juvenile when I'm listening to it, but then that's how I talk. If I'm
Exactly.
talking to somebody, that's exactly
Exactly.
what I would say. So I'm like, I should just leave it in there. Even if I say it 20
Yeah.
times, cast
Yeah.
it, it's what I would do.
Yeah.
It's trying to not critique that because it makes me human. It makes me me. So yeah, sometimes it's hard, but if it's genuinely me and it's not AI, we should do what we can to really set that tone of being true to ourselves and being okay with some of our quote unquote flaws and humanness.
Yeah, I mean, my dog is barking right now. I just muted the mic. Talk about being real, but yeah, this is how it is. Yeah,
Yep. I love listening to podcasts where sometimes you can tell they're in a city because you hear like a fire truck or a
yeah.
police car go by. And it's just like, yeah, that's right. They're real people in real cities doing real things, and it's okay. Now, I believe you mentioned in your intro that you worked with CEOs and executives on their memoirs and authority books. So I would love to dive into that as well. So we talk about being authentic. Then we wanted to switch to establishing some authority with that authenticity. So from your perspective, what kind of changes in someone's brand or positioning once they become an author? Especially for us, a lot of my audience, we are solopreneurs, we're entrepreneurs, we're running our own businesses. So we're always looking for ways to establish this authority. And of course, we've heard that advice. Having a podcast, writing a book, having a memoir leads to that authority. So,
Mm.
you know, what kind of changes for us when we step into that and finally do it?
What changes when I work with them,
Or
or
when we finally make that decision to write the book or to start a podcast or
mm,
have a memoir
yeah.
written, how does that change our brand and our positioning?
So first thing is the book itself is people might think a book is I'm gonna write a book to like make money or whatever. I would say forget about making money. You're never gonna make money out of a book. I mean, what you're gonna make is like really nothing. But what really matters about a book is your brand, is because you position yourself as a thought leader, and that book alone would get you speaking engagement, would get you invited on other podcasts. You will be interviewed in an article. So the fact that you actually wrote a book completely advances your brand. To a degree that you're a published author in that subject matter that you're focused on. So yeah, you get invited on stage, you become an expert. So forget about the reality, focus on what the book actually changes your life in terms of brand positioning.
That is so good to know because I feel like a lot of people, if they do decide to write a book, when they finally start thinking about marketing the book, they really focus on that book launch and getting the book out there. And once it's launched, they the energy and the excitement kind of fades, and they think,
Yeah.
okay, I'm done. The book is out there. Now we just wait for sales. And it's like, it sounds like instead it's the opposite. Like, that's just the beginning. Now that the book is out there, we should be utilizing this book as a tool for more, and that this is just the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is just the beginning, and some people think, as you said, it's just the book launch and how many books do I sell like the first few months, and then the book flopped or whatever. For me, the book never flops because the book is always there and people can always buy it. They call it the backlist. So even if you publish new books, you're gonna promote your backlist as well. So the book is always like, as you can, I know this is an audio podcast, but you can see here like the video, all my books here are behind me, and it's part of my brand. And some of these books are like first book was published 7 years ago, so it's still there. And I still promote it, and and I'm working on another book now. It's just it's a constant brand promotion machine.
Is that some of the stuff that you help with your clients as well? Not just getting it published, but beyond the publishing, helping them understand how to best use the book to enhance their brand and
Yeah,
get reach.
yeah, for sure. So when I got this, I was not planning to do like marketing or brand positioning, but it just came very organically because when we finished the coaching session or the ghostwriting session, they saw, okay, Natasha, what's next? So what I did is I have a team now that I work with, and I like partner with other small business owners, and depending on the client, now we provide marketing services as well, if they require it, because many of them have no clue how to market the book after it's published, and they think the hardest part is writing the book, and that's really far from the truth, because the hardest part is marketing and promoting the book, and that's just constant. It doesn't stop, and it has its ups and downs. You have to have a thick skin. You have to take what comes your way and just go with the flow.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of entrepreneurs thinking that writing the book is the hard part, how can we help entrepreneurs get over that hurdle of the writing? They can sometimes think, okay, well, I'm already running the business. Many of my clients and audience are women entrepreneurs who are married, have children, are running their own business, sometimes have full-time jobs as well as their business. So how do we get over that mindset that they don't have enough time to write a book or to start a podcast? How can they incorporate this writing a book or the podcast into their marketing strategy without overwhelming themselves?
So this is actually one of the things that I coach in my coaching sessions, and there's many tactics we can do that. One of them is realize that having a book is a kind of solid business strategy. So you have to treat writing your book as a job, and you cannot just depend on inspiration. Say, oh, I don't feel like writing today. I'm waiting for like the muse to come or whatever. That does not work. It's like going to the gym. If you depend on motivation and not discipline, you won't go, right. Like for me, I'd rather not go to the gym. The thing that I want to do is sit in my bed, eat chips, and watch Netflix all day, right? If I want to depend on motivation, but I can't just depend on what I feel like it, because that's what I feel like doing most of the time. And the same thing when it comes to writing a book. Don't treat it as something like, oh, I don't feel like working on the book. You just pick a sweet spot of the day. Let's say for many creatives, it's the early morning, and say like, okay, for the first like at least 4 months, or these 4 months, every day I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. and kind of eat that elephant piece by piece, slay the beast. And if you slay that beast of a book slowly every day, and you're disciplined and you have the structure and you know where the sweet spot of the day, you can do it. But again, it's a lot about mindset as well, and that's one of the things that I help my clients with.
Another author that I'd spoken to recently was sharing a story that he, or either he or somebody he knows, wrote a book by using his phone and speaking, doing an audio of like the different chapters and sections as they were driving to work.
Yeah.
And then they would transcribe it and then of course edit it and fine tune it. But that's how they wrote a book over several months. And like, okay, like they obviously by doing that while they're driving, they didn't have to add any other time to their schedule. They didn't have to wake up early or do anything else. It was like incorporated it into their daily life. But I can see how that works for somebody who is comfortable just talking and then editing their words when they're done.
Yeah, I mean, this is like spot on, I on my podcast, so I talk with a lot of authors and I ask them about their writing habits. Recently, I interviewed an author who's a therapist in New York, in Manhattan. So she takes the train to work, and she wrote the first 100 pages of her book on her iPhone notepad. And I thought about it. It's because the idea is it can be a bit intimidating to use your computer to write, but we love our phones, right? Our phones are always near us, with us. And the idea is that you can write it on a note app,
Yeah.
makes it easy and accessible, and it removes the friction of having, I'm gonna open the computer, turn on Google Drive, la la la. So you're sitting on the train, you pull out your iPhone and you just scribble, and and that's how actually she wrote at least half of the book. And then I had another author who's a mom and was driving her kids back and forth. So she would talk to Siri while driving, and I would say, Siri, can you transcribe this? And she's just driving back and forth talking to Siri until she had the book. So the whole point is that just there are no excuses anymore. And I
Yep.
sometimes tell my clients, like, I have no idea how I wrote my book 9 years ago with none of these tools. Like, what kind of like discipline I had to actually do that, and I
Yeah.
did. And now it's like a breeze with all these tools. It's like the transcription, the Grammarly can fix your grammar. Like when I wrote this, there was no Grammarly, there was no transcription for author. There was no AI to tell them, hey, what do you think of this chapter? Act as my editor and whatever. And it's just there's absolutely no excuse because the time is probably cut by half. And if I could do it like 7 years ago with none of this stuff, anyone can do it. So yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate being able to incorporate AI into my strategy and planning like that. When I was writing my book, the way I incorporated AI into my process was because a lot of my book came from my podcast episodes. So like I've
Yeah.
already spoken
Yeah.
on a lot of what was in my book. And so I said, okay, I'm going to establish the framework and the message of what I want my book to be about, but then use that and go back and find the podcast episodes I've already written and spoken on
Yeah.
and pull the content from there. And so that's how I pulled GPT into it and says, can you help me find the episodes that relate to the chapters I'm working on so we can pull those in. And yeah, that process was able to do that in a day and a half. Otherwise, it would have taken me weeks to do all that research and go back through
I
all the hundred
know, I
episodes.
know, I know. I mean, it kind of compressed time for us in a mind-blowing way,
Yeah.
and now we realize we can do so much. Like people can argue, oh well, AI compressed time, but you're always busy because it frees you to do more stuff, right? But that is true. But you know what it did for me is it took out the procrastination aspect, because why do we procrastinate as humans on any task? Because we either afraid of doing, we think we don't have enough knowledge, we don't have the technical skills, and because of that, I mean, at last for me, like one of the reasons like I dread a certain task is it's not easy, right? Like I just don't know where to begin. But if you have an AI sitting right next to you, you know that the AI chat or Claude or whatever always got your back, right? And
Yeah.
just having this completely unlock your mindset to the degree that you stop procrastinating because you know you always have help. um and that for me, just that quick mindset shift made me finish tasks very quickly because I no longer like sit and procrastinate and just doom scroll and look at my phone or stare at the wall because I don't want to do that dreaded task, right? So
Yeah.
that really helped me, and it reflected also in my business, like in like my income sort of doubled just because of using AI in terms of not only the content but the strategy. Having like a business consultant writing next to me, plus a writing consultant, plus an intern, plus the virtual assistant, that this is how you scale, right?
Yeah.
And AI definitely helped me scale. I mean, I pay for these tools, they're not cheap, but they're worth every investment.
Exactly, exactly. If you used correctly and not just to write a social media post, they can definitely help significantly improve your productivity. And yeah, I'm so glad to hear when I hear other people utilizing the tools in an effective way. It's inspiring. So I'm glad we're talking about podcasting. So my next question is about podcasting, and I know we touched on this topic earlier in our conversation about using more audio and increasing as much as we can video, because it's such a powerful way to build trust compared to traditional content. So we touched on why that is. So can you weave into your experience, why, how did you start to recognize why using more video and audio content into your strategy was so important to building your brand?
So in January of this year, I went to a podcasting conference in Florida called Podfest. It's like one of the biggest podcasting conferences here in the US. And the message that I got out of it, the main message is like video, 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 video. And in the podcasting world, especially among Gen Z, there is a huge rise of video podcasting to the degree that YouTube got into it. Netflix now is adding podcasts to their kind of uh, programs, collection of programs. And people are more, and even Spotify now, their algorithm would push more podcasts with video than with just audio. And now if you go to Spotify, you can see the audio and plus the video. um for me, and as I mentioned, is that the authenticity aspect is, and I know it actually from myself. I love listening to podcasts. I listen to podcasts when I drive, right? But when I cook, I put my iPad and I go to the YouTube version of this of the like whether it's a YouTube video or if it's a podcast, because I like to watch people interact while I'm cooking. It's just a nice visual medium while I'm like chopping vegetables or whatever. And it really works, where the audio can work for if you're driving or if you're like taking a walk or whatever. But the video podcasts, and another thing I noticed with video podcast is people like also to have the video running, a video podcast while they're doing work. So like if they're doing like a task that's just kind of mind numbing, all of these mind numbing tasks are now being done by AI. But if you're like doing something and you always have that kind of another screen, like a medium screen, like an iPad or something running in the background, and you can watch this. And now with Netflix incorporating video, now you can flip your TV and put it on your TV, let's say on Netflix, and then while you're cooking or cleaning the house, you have it on the big screen. And as I said, the reason is authenticity, and people want to see how you look like. They want to see the gray hair, like I'm not, they want to hear like my accent that I still cannot get rid of even after 20 years in the US, which is I always joke about it. I'm too old to get rid of it, and
It makes you
so
you. I love it.
exactly, exactly, and it is that's what people crave, especially now. I mean, would you rather hear a robot talking or a human being talking? I mean,
Definitely human, definitely.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why, yeah.
Now, as we know, like I typically have been doing audio podcasts for years, and I definitely know the value of video. So you're convincing me of the value of video, and I will definitely be reconsidering it. One of the things that I hesitate on, and which really made the process difficult for me, was the not so much the process of editing it, but just editing it in a way that I felt it had to be this polished video. So, like, what I didn't like is, like, I'm recording, and this is how I probably would record. I don't want to have to set up a camera. I just want to use my computer and just like a Zoom video, or like we're doing right now. I just want to set up Descript and record. Um, is that good enough quality for a podcast? I'm probably going to be looking at my screen, not at the camera a little bit for my notes. Is that stuff, acceptable? Are people going, or is that going to kind of set a, a tone that says, okay, I'm not really professional, an unprofessional, I guess, reputation.
Sorry, I'm waiting for. All right,
Puppies,
yeah,
the dog is doing
yeah.
his.
The male woman is here. That's why the dog is freaking out. But okay, what if you allow me to analyze what you're going through, is you're getting into something, it's called analysis paralysis. You're overthinking it,
Hmm.
and you're because you're overthinking it, you're kind of like paralyzed. And what I do, I don't have any gear. I only have this microphone and my computer. And what I do is, I like, so I have like my microphone, which you have, and my computer, and I have some lights that I got cheap from Amazon, and that's it, like a ring light. Now I don't even need the ring light because it's I'm not right near the window, so I get that natural light. And my screen is the background. Is that what you see? This is where I record from. This is it, right?
Yep.
And I use Riverside, and Riverside allows me to do what we're doing now. And then it has its editing AI abilities, where it improves the visual, it improves the audio, create shorts. So and it's also like the script where you can edit with the text.
Yep.
And editing a video, for me, the podcast video, takes 5 minutes or less. So
Yep.
after we record, less than 5 minutes, I just remove the beginning, remove the end from the text, and then it can even create a thumbnail for the YouTube video. Create the thumbnail, and then I'll just upload on YouTube, and I'm done. I don't have time to get it. I mean, the thing that I edit is the audio, and I don't edit it myself. I used to in the beginning, but then I was like, it takes an hour and a half, which I don't have, so I'm just out. I outsource it to a very nice guy from Sri Lanka that I met on Fiverr. Been with him for over 4 years now. And so I record on Riverside. I send my editor the audio clip and the video clip, 5 minutes, and it's up on YouTube. And sometimes, like, I'm a bit late uploading the video, but it's fine. Like, I uploaded an audio yesterday because it was already edited. I just the video, I didn't have time, but I'm gonna do it sometime this week. So it's not a big deal, and it takes 5 minutes really. And I'm getting, people discover you on YouTube, and remember that YouTube is part of Google, so the SEO is very high
Yep.
compared to only having it on like Spotify or Apple Podcast, so people can discover you on YouTube and then they can go to the podcasting platform. So I would definitely like this, what we're doing here right now. Like, we're just, sitting in your room. I'm sitting here with no makeup, whatever. This is perfectly fine for a YouTube video. And this is the kind of authenticity that people want,
So if
right?
I change my mind and I make it a video, you're okay?
No, I mean, I don't even have makeup, or like many times I just like whatever, and
Yeah.
people like that and they do well because I think of it as just two people, two friends chatting. And that's it was podcasting. I mean, think of the number one podcast in the world, which is, I think, Joe Rogan now. They keep shifting, but let's say Joe Rogan. His podcast is very simple. He has one dude that helps him, Jamie, I think. And he just like sits and he talks to him. He's like, "Hey, Jamie, can you look this up?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, man." And then like he just sits and just chats with another dude, and they're just two dudes chatting with like very minimal production.
Yeah.
And he's the number one podcast in the world. Why? It's not the production level. It's because, and I wrote an article about Joe Rogan, is the way he asks the questions and the way he researches the guest. And so people are there for his delivery and the authenticity, and he's smart guy, so he knows how to ask good question. So nobody cares if it's that polished or whatever. It's just him and another dude in a room, and then they his producer, and they invite another guy, and they just like chat for 3 hours, like unscripted. And it's number one podcast in the world. That's just the best example.
Yes, I shouldn't worry about me looking at the screen, not look at the camera. Just, I mean,
No.
obviously, look at the camera as much as I can, but just do what I
Yeah,
gotta
I
do.
mean, this is what we're doing right now. I would record it and I would turn it into a video. This is it.
Okay, I'll try it. I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna try it.
Okay, okay.
Okay. All right. Now, speaking of researching and doing some insights, I was looking at your finish your book in a 100 days program and how it's structured around accountability because
Correct.
I feel like that is so important. I used to have my program that I deliver now. Last year, the way I was delivering it, I was really significantly missing out on the accountability portion of my program. So now this year, I've structured it to where I'm really giving my clients that room for executing their marketing strategies that I'm helping them develop, but sticking with them to hold them accountable. So, what role does structure play in actually finishing the creative projects that you're helping them with, like books or long form writing? And how does accountability fit into that?
Well, it's all about structure, right? And it's all the fact that they actually invest, they spend money on seeing my face every single week, is gonna make them show up. And when they show up, we agree. Actually, the first that we got the kickoff session, we raise our hands and we say, "I commit," and I actually make them do that, which is I want them to commit to the number of words that they can finish a week in order to finish the program. Some of them do it. Some, life happens. Sometimes we just push things, reschedule where people get sick, people get travel. But the idea is if you want to finish a book in 120 days, you have to write around 750 words a day. And that would amount to 5,000 words a week. And you can do the 750 words a day in one session or like 2 or 3 sessions. And we have a word tracker that, you can use to put the words in. And if you commit to that and you know that you're going to meet with me next week and I'm going to ask you to send your material 2 days in advance and you paid me, you're going to show up. And you're going to do the work and you're going to write the words. And because, I'm going to review them and I'm going to give you feedback because my sessions are not only about structure and mindset. We actually have live editing. And you might ask me, what if you have a session and people did not write anything, which happens? Is what I do in this case. We can talk about what blocked them, what happened, how we can solve it. And then the rest of the session, we do live writing sessions, which I love, which is I work on my stuff, you work on your stuff. We set the alarm for 20 minutes or whatever, and we set our intentions. Say, okay, I'm going to work in this chapter, you work in chapter, and then we revisit, you revisit. So that immediately kind of unblocked them because I'm there. You might as well write something. And then some people say, I can't. I say, okay, fine. You know what? Just pull up your phone, talk to it, and do the transcript, put it, we'll fix it together. Like, whatever it takes, like, um, whatever it takes to make it happen, especially now with the tools. I had a client who could not, like, she was having a really hard time because it was kind of a trauma informed session. I'm hearing some echo. I don't know if that's from me or from you. Anyways, and what we did, but she had journals from since she was a teenager, and we yeah, that's better. So what we did is I told her, you have your journals, and I was like, yeah, and she's like, are you wanna? She was like, yeah, I wanna base my book on the journal. I was like, okay, this is what you do. Send me a book, pictures of the journal. We took the pictures of the journals, we uploaded them on the AI, ChatGPT, transcribed it, and she already had the material. She plugged the material, and then immediately she got, like, the friction disappeared, and then she started writing, and we did that live. So these are some of the tactics that we use. Again, having me, and I usually check 2 or 3 days before our session to make sure, so how are you doing? How is the writing? I like usually text them to make sure that that's happening.
Love those creative ways of accountability. Usually, because when I think of accountability, I think of just somebody just checking in with you. Did you do what you said?
Mm.
But there's so many, like, you're exposing me to so many different ways to be creative in how you hold somebody accountable for what they say they're going to do.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just need to be a check-in. It can be holding their hand, being there with them as they're doing it. So that is a fun way to do it. Well, that's less intimidating, but still gets the job done in making sure that they're still sticking to what they said they wanted to get accomplished. That's nice. All right. So now for my last question, I want to wrap up with going back to our women entrepreneurs. If a woman is choosing right now between starting a podcast, writing a consistent thought leader content, either on like maybe a LinkedIn news article that she wants to start, or beginning a book, how should she decide which visibility platform aligns best with her business model and her energy?
Yeah. Start with LinkedIn. After you have enough material on LinkedIn, move to a book, and then appear on podcasts.
Okay.
And then start, like, I would say building the podcast might be kind of after you publish the book. You have this established brand, and then you kind of improve your brand by doing the podcast, because, as you know, running a podcast is, requires some time and planning, and you might get burnt out. And the study shows, like, I think only 10% go after finish, like, record more than 5 episodes. People just do 5 episodes and get tired. So you don't want to do that in the beginning. The beginning is start building the audience, creating the LinkedIn content. That LinkedIn content you can turn into a book, even more audience, and then use the content of the book to appear on podcast, more appearance, and then you will feel comfortable enough because you already established the audience, the brand, to start your own podcast. And I would say that's gonna you will prevent you from burnout. I mean, my journey was a bit different. But I started the podcast because I'm a journalist and I like to interview people, and I had a podcast with another person, and then I wanted to go solo. But if I would think of it now, I mean, I still do all, but I've been doing the posting from, like, for like 20 years in the past. So, but if somebody's starting from zero, I would definitely start with LinkedIn for sure. And then a book, while you're writing the book, start appearing on podcasts as well. But and then write the book and then do your podcast.
That's what I was going to ask, if you should wait until the book is published and then go on podcast so you have something tangible to actually sell, or if you should go on as you're leading up to it before the launch. So
It depends.
both.
Like, what is your goal of getting on the podcast? If you have a business and you're already selling the business, so why not go on podcast? But if the book is your business, then wait until you have the book to promote it. But you can talk about your business and you can say, by the way, I have a book coming out, blah blah blah. But if your goal is to sell your book, I would wait until I have the book published so that people can actually go ahead and buy it.
All right, so we had that technical hiccup. We'll figure out where we left off, but I did want to ask you how people can follow up with you, how they connect with you, how they can hire you.
Sure, yeah. So I'm easy to find. My website is natashatynes.com. My email is natasha@natashatynes.com. I'm on all social media channels, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm very active on Substack as well. It's a great place for me. Facebook. So yeah, feel free to reach out, and I offer a free discovery call so that we can talk about your goals and you're planning to achieve, and we will take it from there.
Awesome. And you said you write for Bethesda Magazine, so we can check out some of your content
Sure.
there as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you, Natasha.
Thank you so much for having me, Philippa. I had a great time, and I also wish you the best of luck in your business.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Natasha, thanks so much for that conversation. I love how you reframed writing and podcasting not just as extra, but as strategic tools for authority and long-term visibility. In this world today where AI can generate almost anything, we're talking your voice, your story, your image, even videos, your perspective and your authenticity are more valuable than ever. So if you've been sitting there on an idea of a podcast or a book, consider this your invitation and permission to think strategically about how these assets can serve your business, not just creatively, but strategically and commercially. You guys, you have to move forward and take advantage of this time and opportunity. And as always, guys, stay rooted in clarity, build with intention, and like the CEO you are, just go after what you've got. And I can't wait to see you next week when we bring you some more great marketing and business strategy goodies.